G'day everyone, welcome back to the Perkins Engineering YouTube channel. I'm getting stuck straight into this episode. As you know, this series brought to you by Automation Solutions. I'm sitting in the 1993 Bathurst winning car. I want to continue our series within the series where we look at the 3 different generations of supercars. And this episode, I'm looking at steering wheels. And whilst there's not a lot to them, they have changed a lot over time. Perkins Engineering were typically quite basic, and then what you see on a racetrack today, which we'll be able to show you in the HRT car we have here, they become a lot more complicated and complex. And I've got a few props here. So these are the steering wheels we use in these cars. Big wheel, so no power steering, which then means the diameter of the wheel is a little bit bigger actually, and over time that got smaller. And I've got another prop. This is the steering wheels we ended up with in Perkins Engineering, like our VYs and things like that. But they came as a round wheel, and then we would modify them to have a flat bottom. And when I get in the 2003 car, I'll show you why we do that. This is actually from 2003 Bathurst practice crash. The steering wheel got bent. And it's a bit hard to see from the eye, but the steering wheel got bent and needed to be replaced, and that's the steering wheel from the crash. So I'm going to grab the camera, flick the view around, show you what the driver sees, and give you a rundown on the steering wheels across the 3 generations of supercars. Okay, on board now, 93 Bathurst winning Holden Commodore, and there's the Momo steering wheel from 1993. So first things first, let's chuck a tape measure on it and show you the diameter, 365 mils. So that's the non-power steering size. These are quite a hard steering wheel to find these days, so a bit like the SAS seats. If you want some instant friends, put a Momo 365, 370 mil diameter steering wheel on Marketplace and you'll get a few friends. But these steering wheels really basic, so no radio buttons, no nothing. Radio button on this car is on the gear lever, so the steering wheel is basically unbastardized straight out of the box. We have one fixed position in the column which is not mounted off yet, and a bolt goes straight through the boss. You see here, the bolt goes straight through there. The driver will sit in the car, which will be LP. We'll get him to put the steering wheel where he wants. We'll drill it through, bolt it in, and there's just no adjustment. So that's co-drivers, no nothing. Get in, deal with it. So that's the steering wheel in the 1993 car. Very basic setup. You can see the dash cluster in the background, monster tacho, and some manual gauges over there. And she's a fairly basic setup. So let's go over and check out the 2003 car now. Righto, we've jumped in the 2003 car, and I wanted to start by sort of talking about why we made the steering wheels flat bottom. So, as we discussed, these steering wheels started as a nice round Momo wheel, and then we would get Errol at Revolution Race Gear to modify them to a flat bottom. And the main reason for the flat bottom is getting in and out of the cars, especially in the drive changes. So when you look here, I've got the tape measure here actually, so I'll have a look. The gap between the seat and the steering wheel is 160 mil. So when you try and slide out, it's quite difficult to get your body past there. But you can kind of move the steering wheel, and when you want to get in and out of the car, you've now got 210 mil because of the flat bottom. So that certainly made it a lot easier. And then of course the drivers who are a bit taller with the knees and whatnot, they would have more clearance here. So that's the first reason why the steering wheel started kind of getting modified from the full round. But I'll grab the camera now, I'll spin the view around and show you what it's like from the driver's seat. Okay, here in the driver's seat of the 2003 car, my trusty note in the middle, no diff oil, just a friendly reminder that I've changed into diff ratio and I need to whack some diff oil back in it. That's how they used to do it. So flat bottom steering wheel as we discussed. I put the tape measure on just to show you now with power steering. This steering wheel, 340 mils, so quite a lot smaller. And the reason is with the power steering, obviously less physical effort required. So when you don't have power steering, bigger diameter, more lock required, but less physical strength. And I've got a prop here to show you. That's the 93 and 94 wheels go over the top, just to show you the difference in the diameter. And then this is the new Momo wheel in the same sort of specification, which you can see the massive difference the wheel size makes when you don't modify the flat bottom. So it's a massive gain, but that is the Momo steering wheel as it comes out of the box. And as touched on, this is the steering wheel that was actually originally in this car. So this wheel was the original steering wheel when the car was brand new, but it was bent in the Bathurst crash. And this one, actually, if you read the Perkins Engineering Cars book, this wheel came from Dick Johnson Racing, because Perkins Engineering didn't carry a spare steering wheel in the truck in 2003, and they did all the same modifications to their wheels through Revolution Race Gear. So not sure if we owe Dick Johnson's a wheel or not. I'm sure we would have sorted it out. But you'll see now straight away, obviously the steering wheel has a lot more switches on it. So page and scroll all relate to the Motec dashboard in the background. Headlights are here on a paddle. Wipers are here on a paddle. And then flash your headlights are here on a paddle. And the bottom paddle used to be the handbrake, which was just a cable hooked up to the brake pedal. And you'd push the pedal down to grab the slack, hold it there, and do your race starts and your pit stops without a drama. Resetting your alarm on the dash, and windscreen washer bottle, and a pit speed limiter. So all of these switches were not really required in a 93 car because it didn't have a data logger in the center there. And this was the radio button. So that's probably the only one that would normally carry over to the 93 car radio, and maybe washer bottle. But on that car, we spoke about how it was on the gear lever, the radio button, and the washer bottle was on the switch tower. But to show you the steering mounting system, basically the same. So steering column, this time the actual boss has a few different adjuster holes, so that it's not just limited to the one hole. One hole in the steering column, but you can push this in and out. And at one stage there in 2003, they had an adjustable column between the drivers, so you could sort of put two spots in for a driver change. So that's the steering wheel evolution in 10 years. Let's jump in the HRT car and see how much further the evolution travelled to what they drive around with today. So here I am in the HRT VF Commodore, basically the car that you see on the Supercars grid today. So steering wheel looks a lot different, doesn't it? It's flat top, flat bottom. Again, the flat top is more for drivers' visibility, and the flat bottom is continuing on, getting a bit more room to get in and out of the cars. But one of the biggest differences straight away, if I grab the tape measure out, is the diameter of the wheel. So it's a lot smaller again, so 305 mil in diameter. So compared to 375 mil, if I get my props out, so the steering wheel from our 1993-94 car, look at the size difference in that bad boy. So as we know, manual steering in the 93-94 car, so a bigger wheel required to get around the track. And as the power steering's got better and better over time, the steering wheel's got smaller. And if we compare it to the original wheel out of the 2003 Rocket, you can still see it's a big difference to that again. And you can see visibility straight away when I talk about the flat top. Look what you can see from the driver's eye here. And then when you've got a flat top, you can see a lot more. So it enables the drivers to sit lower. And we've got a lot more switches now on the steering wheel for the driver as well. So these are dash pages on this car. So acknowledging is actually not a dash page. I've said that wrong. That's an acknowledge that if the team says to me on the radio, you're going to pit in 10 laps, instead of saying yes, no worries, you can just press acknowledge and they can see the data spike. These are your CPS lights, so green, which is co-driver light, red or orange for soft tyre, or both if the co-driver's in on softs. Resetting an alarm, wipers, just a little toggle switch, so 1, 2 and 3 speeds. and page here cycles through the various dash pages. Drink bottle, handbrake, so line locker, pit speed, and this button was the safety car button that was a bit of a test thing that never actually ended up getting used. On the left paddle is headlights, and on the right paddle is radio torque. So quick release steering wheel, so you can pull that off the car. Might be a bit tricky with one hand, which it is, but you can quick release, pull that off there, and the steering wheel comes off. There we go. That was a bit easier than I thought. But the dash and the electrical comms are all connected by a mil-spec plug, so that then can get pushed back on, and your steering wheel's on. You see a lot of the teams will have a track map of the current track they're racing at, and that's not so the driver knows which way to go. It's more so when you're talking corner numbers and you can make references to things, whether it be a crash or car setup and things like that. So yeah, massive evolution in steering wheels, and it's pretty cool to see the difference from the driver's eye. Well, I enjoyed running you through that difference in steering wheels. That's quite a cool thing to do and show you the difference here with the big bus wheel out of the 93 car. You put that in place in this car, I mean, it'd be very hard to get out, and then you're looking straight at the top of it. So another thing to point out, in the current cars, they have a Woodward collapsible steering column, which has got lots of adjustment. So Perkins cars don't have a lot of adjustment there, but the current cars do. So that's it. I enjoyed that. Big thanks to Automation Solutions. They're basically enabling us to do more and more of this, which is really good fun. We're enjoying doing more filming, more content, more engagement. So keep the support coming through. And remember, if you can support Automation Solutions in any way, it'd be fantastic. They're enabling us to bring you more content. So automationsolutions.com.au, jump on their Facebook, Automation Solutions Australia. So yeah, we're looking forward to bringing you an episode on what they do, and some of their robot controls and systems are really cool. So looking forward to bringing that, whether it be palletizing, machine folding, PLC machine controls, some really cool stuff. And we've touched on it before, but Brett, the owner, loves getting on the road and servicing the regional areas. So it's not just limited to Melbourne and Victoria. If they can do anything for your business, check them out, support them, and they're enabling us to do some cool stuff. So big thank you to Automation Solutions. PerkinsEngineering.com.au, we've got t-shirts, hats, all sorts of stuff there. Thanks for the support for everyone. We really enjoy it, and we're looking forward to bringing you more episodes soon. So thank you very much for tuning in. Like and subscribe our YouTube channel. We'll keep getting back to all the comments when we can. We're having good fun, so thank you very much.